All right, Alan Diehl, I think, is joining us once again. He's the author of Air Safety Investigators, also formerly with the NTSB and FAA. Alan, do we have you now?
Yes.
Alan, please give us your sort of perspective as a person who knows these things and lives these things and breathes these things. What you're hearing about this so far?
Well, not very much, actually. I just tuned in a minute ago, and I understand it's a helicopter accident. I don't even know the model number, but I do know that I'm sure the NTSB is en route right now as we speak, and I'm sure the FAA is probably on scene, the local FAA office. So right now, clearly their concern is to secure the wreckage, to remove the human remains, and the team will arrive, within minutes, if not hours. Hours for the NTSB, probably coming out of Washington.
So, Alan, what type of things do they look for when they're on scene like this in the investigation process?
Well, normally here, as I said, they obviously need to remove the human remains. They'll go to the morgue. There'll be autopsy to see if there's any medical factors. But clearly they'll want to photograph the wreckage in place and to look at the other obstacles. We don't know if it hit an obstacle or whether it was a mechanical or human error. It doesn't appear like weather or the environment was a major factor, but they'll look at those three areas. And, of course, they always have to look for hostile action, but there's no suggestion of that, and I'm not making that suggestion either. But they'll be thorough. Unfortunately, I doubt if this aircraft, this helicopter, has recorders, which are very helpful. And they'll be asking the public, anybody that has videos, to please contact them. So those are the initial procedures that will take place the next couple hours.
In a situation like this, where this crash is near the interstate, this is such a major thoroughfare through Charlotte. How long could this conceivably shut down to allow for that investigation? Well,
I would imagine it would be more than several hours, put it that way. I just don't think they're not going to remove the wreckage immediately. The idea is to leave it in place because many times, it's like a crime scene. You want to preserve the evidence, and air safety investigators are much like crime scene investigators. You have to be very careful when you're moving wreckage or any kind of evidence. So hopefully the law enforcement can route people around that area, but I wouldn't expect that road to be fully opened anytime in the next, certainly not in the next several hours, and probably longer.
Alan, give us some indication, how common are helicopter crashes?
Well, they're more frequent than the so-called fixed-wing crashes. I don't know what type of helicopter this is. Of course, it varies with the model. We don't know if this was a private helicopter, a news helicopter, or I don't know, or medevac. There's been a lot of medevac crashes because the pilots are so eager to try to, save lives by getting the patient to the hospital. And conceivably, it could even be a law enforcement crash. I don't know. Maybe you know now, but depending on the type of mission, they can be quite dangerous or relatively safe.
Thanks for the information right there about the fact that at the moment we're not certain about the company or who owns the helicopter. It is a 1999 helicopter, two-person helicopter. We do know that. Unfortunately, 2 fatalities in this situation.
All right.
Okay, so it's probably a training, I'm guessing, probably a training helicopter, a two-person helicopter. There's several models, and I won't speculate on
the description we're reading, Alan, is a 1999 Robinson helicopter, rotorcraft. Okay. It says 4 seats, 1 engine.
Okay, it's probably a Robinson 44 if it's got 4 seats. They also have a version with the turbine engine, and of course the turbine engines are much more reliable than piston engines. At this point, we don't know if it's mechanical. Robinson is the most common type of helicopter, light helicopter out there flying today. They have a reasonable safety record. I know in the past there's been problems with post-crash fires. It doesn't appear from the images I'm seeing that there was a post-crash fire. Maybe you know more than I know, but clearly it doesn't look, just from the wreckage, And remember, I'm a former NTSB. I'm not speaking for the safety board now, but it doesn't appear that this crash was survivable. That's the other thing the NTSB always looks at, whether or not the so-called crash worthiness of the vehicle. But here it doesn't look. It appears that the occupiable space was eliminated, so the chances of anybody surviving that kind of impact is very low, unfortunately.
All right, Alan Diehl, thank you for your expertise and thank you for sharing your history and your knowledge of this field and this aircraft as well. Alan, thank you so much.